So in this video we're gonna check out a schema type. So what is a schema type? Because right now in our collection we have examples and users, and we have only one user, that is user one, but we don't have any examples. So we want to create examples, but we want to have those examples to be connected to a specific user. For example, example 1, example 2, 3 has to be connected to a specific user, that in this case would be user 1 or user 2. So we're going to be using a schema type. What is a schema type? You can think of a Mongoose schema as the configuration object for a Mongoose model. A schema type is then a configuration object for an individual property. A schema type says what type a given path should have, whether it has any getters, setters, and what values are valid for that path. So here we have an example. We have the cons schema, no schema, and then here we have some path instance of Mongoose that is schema type. So we're gonna see this in a little bit. You can check out my channel and to the API project if you're following along, because here we have how to create a MongoDB database, how to create Mongoose models, schemas, all the stuff. Okay, this is MongoDB. Right now I'm gonna go into this folder. I'm gonna right click so I can open it in Visual Studio Code. I'm gonna type in code space that, and okay, I'm gonna open my incorporated terminal with control tilde, and my scripts are gonna be testing examples. So I'm gonna npm run examples like this, so I can use Nodeman. If you wanna use Node, you just type in npm run test. So we're gonna open Postman, and let me see. So if we go into MongoDB and users, we only have registered one user, that is gonna be user one. So the endpoint is gonna be API/user/sign. So if I go into the header, if I go into the body here, and header authorization here into the body, and I'm gonna put in the email, that is gonna be, it was user1 at gmail.com, like this, and now a password. It's gonna be password, and you type in the password 1234. So let's click send. Okay, and I have my information. So I have the ID, the name one, the user one, and I have a token. So we have that up to this point. If I go into the server, we're gonna have two endpoints. We have the API/examples and the API/users. And if you go into the user route, we're gonna have also the users/sign. So this is where I am right now, API/user/sign. So I'm gonna go now into the, it's not gonna be user, it's gonna be API/is, but it's gonna be example, so it's gonna be a different route. And as of right now, we don't have any example, so this is empty. We need to create examples, but we want those examples to be connected to a specific user. So in order to do that, we can go into our, I think it was, let me see, no, it was models. It was in models, and we need to go into the, this is the user model. We need to go into the example model, and right now we only have text. So what we are gonna do right now is we're gonna add a user. So we are gonna have like this. It's gonna be user, and it's gonna be pretty similar. So let's gonna put a comma to separate it. So we're gonna have a user. So we can know what example that a specific user has created. So, and we're gonna give it a type of like this, and the type is gonna be this one. It's gonna be the object ID. to specify a type of object ID, use schema.types that object ID in your declaration. So we're gonna set it to mongoose that, let me see, it's gonna be mongoose that schema dot types, like this, and it's gonna be object ID that object ID, like that, and we're gonna put comma here. And again, schema types handle definition of path defaults, validation, getters, setters, field selection defaults for queries, and other general characteristics for string and numbers. And right now we are dealing with the object IDs. So right now we are gonna have also require, and require is we're gonna set it to true. It's gonna be require, we're gonna set it to true, and we need to have a reference, so which user is creating these examples, this resource, and it's gonna come from our model. Our model is users. Let me see if I go into the user model. Okay, the model name is user, so yeah, that is the one that we are gonna use. So we're gonna have it here, we're gonna save it. Okay, so we are doing okay, that's fine. What else do we need to do here? So now we are gonna go into the, let me see, we need to go into the, okay, so we need to go into the middleware. We have created this middleware here. We have created this function secure data, and we're gonna protect these routes too, because right now I can, let me see, headers, body, there's nothing. If I click send, so let's see what happens if I click send. Okay, it's empty. Why is empty? Because we have nothing here, so we don't have any examples yet. So we are gonna start creating those examples, but we want to protect this endpoint, so nobody just can come in and start creating examples for us. So a specific user has to do that. So we are gonna go into the user route, and we brought it here for the user data, but now we're gonna go into the example route. And first of all, we're gonna bring in that function that is secure data, I think it was, let me see, secure data. Okay, so we're gonna go here, secure data, and we are gonna bring it from, let me see, to levels up, secure data, require, and it's gonna be in middleware, and it's gonna be in security middleware. So we're gonna bring it, and in order to protect this route, the only thing that we need to do is just call in the function. So secure data, the same is gonna be here, secure data, comma, for the update it's gonna be the same, secure data, comma, and for the delete method is gonna be the same, so it's gonna be secure data. So we're gonna save it, and okay, let's see, we have a token here, it's gonna be bearer token, so we don't have a token. So let's see what happens if I try to get into the localhost 8000/API/examples, and we have an error, so token not found. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so now what we are gonna do is we're gonna be creating some examples for this specific user. And let me see, so right now we're gonna go into the user model, we're gonna go into the user controller, example controller. We're gonna go into the example controller, and let me see, we are gonna bring in the example, the user model. So we are in the we have the example model that is from the example model, but now we're gonna bring in the user model from the require, and this is gonna be configuration is gonna be from models, and it's gonna be in users model. Okay, so we save it, and now here we have the get example. Okay, so this is asynchronous. We are awaiting, we're using the example model, and we are finding it. But now we can do this. We have this method, we have the user as we defining it over here. We have a user object, and we're going to be using it since in the security middleware we set, let me see, security middleware, we set it to the request that users, we set it from, we find the users and the user model find by ID, and we are setting it to the request that users. So if we go into the example model and we have users object, we're gonna set it to request that users that ID. So since we are finding it by ID, so now we're gonna save it, and let me see, request that users, and yeah, since we are protecting the example routes, we are protecting it with the secure data, we're gonna be able to access the request that users. So we have that up to this point. What else do we need? So this is to get information. This is for the get method. This is this one. This is for the get method. For the post method, in order to create something, we have the text that is going to be set to request that value, that text. But in addition to the text, we also have the user object. Again, here in the example model, we don't not only have text, but now we have the user object. So we are gonna go into user, and this time it's gonna be a request that it's not gonna be body, it's gonna be request that users that ID, like this, and you can put a comma here. Okay, so text is gonna be set to request that body, that text, and user is gonna be set to user is gonna be set to request that users that ID. So what else do we need? So let's check it out if this is working. So I'm gonna grab the token here, I'm gonna grab it, and I'm gonna go into, first of all, authorization. I'm gonna go into bearer token, I'm gonna paste in my token. I'm gonna go into the headers, so into the body now, and now I'm gonna, first of all, I'm just gonna send it to see what happens. Okay, so it's empty. Okay, so it's fine. So now we're gonna create some examples. So it's gonna be text, and I'm gonna put user one, example one, and let's send it to see if it works. And let me see, user one, example one. Oh, okay, so I need to create it, so it has to be a post method. So let's just let me see, let's just grab this, and we're gonna open a new method, this one is gonna be post, so it's gonna be text user one, example one. So this is a post method, and yeah, we have the user is gonna have this ID, the text is gonna be user one, example one, create that. Okay, and we go into examples. If we go into examples, we have the ID. Okay, we have this ID, we have the user ID, and we have the example. So user one, example one. And now if we go into the get method, and let's, okay, we have API / examples. Let's just click send. Okay, what happened here? Not token. Oh, I need to put the token again, my bad. So let's just grab the token here, and let's go into authorization, and it's gonna be bearer token, and let's just paste it, send it, And now what happened here? Error, incorrect token. So let's just grab it again, or let's just, you know what, let's sign again. So it's gonna give me a different token, so I'm gonna grab it. I'm gonna, oh, it's obviously okay, so now let's send it. And as you can see, if we go into the get method, we have the ID, this is the ID, we have the user, we have the text, and the timestamps. So we have that, and yeah, so let's see, let's sign in with a different user. So this time it's gonna be user 2. So it's gonna be user 2 and it's gonna have the same password. So let's sign in. Okay, so let me see, we only have one user, so we need to create it. So let's open a new tab here, and this is gonna be a post method here. So let's copy this, let's go here, and this time we're just gonna go into users and we're gonna sign in and users. So we're gonna create it, body, and we're gonna go into the URL encoded, and we're gonna have it was, which word, let me see the fields first. So if we go into the user model, we have name, email, and password. So we're gonna go here and we're gonna have name, email, and password like this. So if we go, name is gonna be user2, email is gonna be user2 at gmail.com like this, and the password 1234 like this. So let's create this user. Okay, so we have this user. Let's check out in the database. So we have two users now, user 1 and user 2. So now let's grab this token. Let's grab this token here, and now we're gonna sign in. So let me check out, let's sign in here. Okay, I sign in, so let's grab the token, and now we are gonna go into the get method, and now I'm gonna paste in this token, the token from user 2. So what you see here is information from user 1, but now I'm gonna put in the token from user 2 and click send, and it's empty. Why is empty? Because user 2 hasn't created any examples. All the examples that we saw previously were from user 1. So as you can see, there's specific users, those are connected to an specific example. So we have user 1, this example that you see here is from user 1, example 1. So yeah, that is that. So it's working properly. So now user 1, so every user is gonna have its specific examples or resources in this case. So let's create some examples for user 2. So let me see, we have here, let's open it's gonna be examples, but this time it's gonna be a post method. So it's gonna be a post method, let me see, post method, and it's gonna go into just examples. So, and we are gonna need a token. So first of all, we're gonna go here and we're gonna type in text user2 example like that. So let me see, authorization and bearer token. So there is some token here, so let's check it out if that is the one. So, or let's just take it out, and then let's go for user. This is user 2. So this is user 2. So let's just grab its token from user 2, and let's paste it here. And okay, the body is gonna be just text user2 example. So it has created the text is user2 example. So if we go into examples in our database, we should have user1 example1 and then user2 example2. And as you can see, we have different IDs. So let's create another. Let's create user2 example2 example2 like that. So if I go into MongoDB and I go into examples, now I have three examples. The first one is user1 example1, the second one is user2 example2, and we have the, as you can see, we have the user ID. These two, they have the same user ID, so the user ID ends up in 007, as you can see here, but this one that is user1 ends up in 761, as you can see. So this is user2 example and user2 example2. So if I try to create another user, so it's gonna be example3, it's gonna have the same user ID. So you can see that each specific example is connected to a specific user. So now the last user2 example3 is gonna have the user that is gonna be the object ID that is gonna end up in 007. Well, in this specific case, as you can see, these three examples pertain to the same user that is going to be user2, and that is the reason we're using object ID. That is the object ID, that is the schema type. So you can read this information. I'm gonna leave this link below. So now we can get the information with the get method, and we can create examples with the post method. Now we're gonna update and delete. So right now we're gonna go into the users controller, and let me see if we already brought, no, into the examples controller we need to go, and we already brought the users model, so that's fine. And let me see, so now we're gonna update and delete. Okay, so we already have the user, and now we're gonna go into the update. So right now the only thing that we have to do is, before this const example update, we have to go here just above, and we have to make sure that the user that is logged in matches with the example that is creating. So we're gonna have an if statement like this: if, and let me see, if the example that is associated with user object, and the user object comes from here, this user. So if that is associated, we're gonna convert it to a string first. So it's gonna be to a string, and it has to be with parentheses. Okay, if they are not equal to the request that users that ID, if they are not equal, then something is gonna happen. That something is gonna be a response object status, and it's gonna be a for one, and we're gonna throw new error like this, and it's gonna be not match like this. So if the user that is connected, if the example that is connected to the specific user, we are converting this to a string, is not equal to the request that user's ID, and again we are getting this information from the request that user ID. We already did it in the previous video, and the middleware, where the request that users, we are finding it by ID from the user model we are verifying it, we're getting the token, all this stuff, and we are setting it here, request that users. And the ID is because if we go into the user controllers, if we go here in the user data, let me see, no, it was here in the JSON web token, we are passing in the ID. So we have that, so let's check it out if it's working. So we're gonna open a new tab, and this time it's gonna be a put method. So let's go into examples. Okay, it's gonna be examples like that, and let me see. Okay, so right now we're gonna sign in as user 2. Okay, so we have signed in as user 2, and let me see examples. Okay, and let me see the examples of user 2. We have 1, 2, 3. We have 3. So let's start deleting. Let's user 2 example, the first one. Let's grab the ID, and now we are gonna go into examples /ID, that ID, and we are not gonna delete it because this is an update. So we are gonna put in text and update like that. So I'm gonna send it, and something happened. Okay, error, token not found. So we need a token. We need to go into the authorization. We need to go into the bearer token, and we are gonna go. Okay, we sign in as user 2. So I'm gonna grab this token. I'm gonna go here, and now okay, update. So if you go into the get method, so this user 2 example is not gonna be here, it's gonna be update. So let's send it, and as you can see, we have update, and we have user 2 example 2 and user 3 example 3. So it has been updating. If you go into the database, we have the same thing. So we are gonna have these 3 examples are from user 2 because the user ID is object ID, and is ending up in 007, 007, and this one too is 07. But if you can see here, it has been updated. So let's update the other one. Let's update, let me see, we already have the token. Oh yeah, so it's not gonna be a problem. So now let's go into the method, and now let's update this one. It's gonna be this one, body updated, update 2. Let's put it like that, simple. Okay, so if we go into the localhost, into the get method, and we send it, we have update and update 2, so it's working. So we have the get method is working, the post method is working, and the put method, the update method is working. If we go into the database, we can see that update and update 2 and update 3, and you can see that these 3 goals are from the same user, that is the user object ID that ends up in 007, 007, and 007. This first user is different. This is user 1. And this is the main goal of this video, to have examples connected to a specific user. So now we're gonna go into the delete method, and we're gonna go into the example controllers, and we are gonna go into just above here, and again we're gonna be doing the same thing. If the example that has the specific user, we're gonna set it to a string, and it has to have a parenthesis and says a function. It doesn't match the request that users that ID, then we're gonna be doing something that is gonna be the response object, I can just copy. Well, let's just pass it like that, and then we're gonna, okay, it's gonna be throw new error, and we're gonna pass what I put here, not much. Okay, not much, it doesn't matter. So for now it's gonna be like that, not much. So now we're gonna test in the delete method. So let's delete this. So we have user2 has three examples, so let's start deleting those 3 examples. So let's go here, and now instead of having a put method, we're gonna have the delete method. I'm gonna start deleting, so I'm gonna grab the first ID, I'm gonna send it, and let's see if it works. Okay, so let's go into the get method, let's send it, and now I only have two examples. Alright, so it's working. So let's grab the second one, and you can go also into the examples, and instead of 3 I only have two examples for the user 2. So now let's delete the second one. Let me see, paste it, send it. Okay, I deleted the update 2, and since we are already at it, let's delete the final one too. So the user 2 doesn't have any examples. So let me check it out, and let's send it. And if we go again and click into the get method, into the API examples, it's empty. And if we go into MongoDB, it's gonna be empty. So this example is from user 1. So this is what we have here. So it's working. So we have the get method is working, the post method is working, the put and delete method is working. And to do that, we were able to use the scheme type, and we were able to do the object ID to specify a type of object ID. Use the schema type, the schema that types that object ID in your declaration. So this is what we did. Mongoose, that schema that types that object ID. So we set the users. We do examples model, and we have this user object, and the type we set it to mongoose, that schema that types that object ID. The require was set to true, and the reference, so the reference is come from the users model. So if we go here into examples, into models, I mean, where's models, users model, so we created this users model. So these users are coming from here, and here in the subject we have name, email, and password. So that is the reason that is working. And yeah, if we send all this information, we are gonna have an empty set. But what happens if we sign in as user 1? So we're gonna sign in as user 1. So right now we are logging, we are signing as user 1. So if I send here, well, right now it's gonna be an error because I have a different token. So let's send it, and okay, so nothing's happening. Why? Because the token is from user 2, so nothing's happening. So if I go to authorization and I change this token, I am gonna take it out, and now user 1, I'm gonna grab the token from user 1, and I'm gonna paste it right here. I'm gonna send it. I should have some examples. Okay, I have this example that is user 1, and it's gonna have the user 1 example 1. So let's update this one real quick, and this is gonna be a put request, and now we're gonna update example of user 1 like this. And Let me see. I need to grab this ID. So I did it. No, it's different. So let's just grab this ID. And this has to be a put request, a put method. So if I go into the database, I have only one example that is gonna be user1 example1, so I'm gonna update it right now. And if I click send, oh oops, what happened here? Error, not match. Okay, so let me see, error, that not match. So okay, so the header is the authorization. Okay, so we're gonna sign in, we're gonna be signing in as user1. Okay, so I'm gonna grab this token, I'm gonna go here, I'm gonna go into the bearer token, and we're gonna go into example users. Okay, so let's do it again. And this is the user. Oh, I was grabbing this number, but the ID is this one. So I'm gonna grab this ID and I'm gonna paste it here, and now I'm gonna update it. So let me see if it works this time, and it did. So if I go into the get method, and let me see, let's send. Okay, user1 example1, update of user1. Okay, let's go into the database. And I didn't update it, so let me see. Okay, so we have user2 ID. This is the okay. Okay, so let's open this method, the delete method, and let's delete the first one. So it's gonna be delete method. Let me see, and the body is gonna be, no, well, we don't need anything, we just need the ID. I want to delete, I have two now. So if I go into the get method, so I have update example1 of user1. So let's delete this ID, so I only have one. So let's copy this, send it, and okay, the token again. So I need to go into authorization, bearer token, and now let me see. So I sign in as user1, and okay, I'm gonna go here. Now I'm gonna send it, and it works. So let me see how many examples I have for user1. I only have one, this update example user1. So as you can see, the delete method is working. So in the put method I mess up here, so let's do it again, one final. If we go here into the get method, we only have this update example1 user1. So let's do a final update. So let's grab this ID, let's put it right here, and let's put, okay, I don't know, let's just type in the final update. So let's send it, and let's go into the get method, and okay, so now it's working. So yeah, so it's working, has a proper functionality. I must have missing something, but yeah, it's working properly. So you see, final update. So the get method, post method, put method are working properly. So right now I can grab this final ID, and I can go into the delete method, and since I have my token, I can put here, and this user one, or yeah, user one, let me see, we have signed in as user one, so user one has no tokens or has no examples, so it's empty, it has 0. And if you go here into the get, well, we have 0, we have no example for user one. So let's log in as user 2, and let's log in. We're gonna have a different token. We're gonna go into the get method, and this user also doesn't have any examples, so it's gonna be empty, and it's working as you can see.